Okay, so we create something like this. So we will create org and support, right? We will take that field and we will do what? It will be I mean the selection list, and we will say human resources. Okay, I hope there is a supervisory organization like that. Okay, let's use this one. Human resources. So this one, so human resources and all the subordinates will be part of that. So we will click on OK to save this. So now what is happening? So all the workers who are in this hierarchy, or instead of managers in HR, let's edit this. Instead of managers in HR, let's say department right. Department is HR. Something like this. And then, what do? We create a compensation grid. Okay, and let's use 23rd, use grid profiles. Okay. And we call it as well compensation, as per department. Okay. And then we go here in the grid profiles. And we start doing it. Employees in H? Are right. And then, what is the eligibility rule here? The one that we just created, right? Department is HR. Got it. Okay, so this is. You can create multiple eligibility rules like this. Department is HR, department is IT, department is sales marketing, etc., etc. And then you create multiple grid profiles based on that. This is how you do. Okay, but this is assuming that all your workers in HR is in the same country, right? If you have HR, but in US, UK, and so on. So then you have to create multiple rules. HR in US, right? So in that rule you have to specify the department as well as the country. Isn't it? So that is something you have to consider, how you want to structure your workers. What is the eligibility rule? That is something you have to sit down, decide at a very, very high level. So this is done at the implementation time of the project, that the big bosses of the compensation team, they sit down, they do a lot of brainstorming, that how are we going to define this? Eligibility rules. How are we going to pay our employees? Right, how are we going to do it in one day? It doesn't happen in one day, you don't decide at the drop of a hat. You have to sit down, discuss this in detail. There are months that are spent to design this set of eligibility rules. Creating the eligibility rules is simple, but designing this is important. Right. So you have to sit down with the compensation admin, you have to sit with the different countries, like we had a huge problem for one of our customers. They did. They have designed. They have a well-established practice that designed this compensation structure for 20 countries, right? It was all running fine for 250,000 employees. Then they acquired a new company. Okay, and this new company did the compensation in an entirely different manner. And that country had operations in 25 countries. Okay, this that the company that was taken over. So they spent like 6 months trying to correlate what the new company is doing versus what the parent company is doing. Countless meetings were done. They agreed on something. Right. And then they tried to implement. They started implementing. They created a new set of eligibility rules for the new company, and so on. They did everything. But just 1 month before the go live, the new company again acquired another company in a 26th country. Right. And that country did things absolutely differently. So now everything had to be redone. Okay, it was a nightmare, because each company may be its employees in a different way. They may have their own rules for paying. Right. So that is what the business analysts are for. So we will talk to the compensation specialist, we will talk to the admin, and then we will try to find out how we are doing it in that particular organization. And then we will try to derive the rules based on that. Okay, is it going to be on the location? Is it going to be on the job profile? Is it going to be on the department and job profile, combination, department job profile and, let's say, job level, job hierarchy, cost center, remote versus on-site? So different combinations may affect a worker's compensation. Right. So based on that, there will be this discussion like how to set up the eligibility rules. Got it. It is not so straightforward. I am just showing you how to create it. But why to create, or what is the underlying logic behind it that happens? That discussion needs to happen with the business analysts at the time of creating this. Is it the toughest thing? Is it? Is it a very sensitive thing? That is something I can tell you, because the workers, actual workers, they don't care whether you have Workpay or PeopleSoft or SAP, SuccessFactors or etc. They don't care. They want their compensation to be correct. You want the compensation to be correct every time, because if it is wrong, even if it is off by, let's say, $10, people will ask questions like, why did I get $10 less or $10 more? Or I did not get this. I did. I should have got this. It's a very sensitive issue. So it has to be right, okay. But if something is very critical in Workday, I would say it is payroll, because it directly impacts hundreds and thousands of employees. So I mean, if your payroll is wrong, it has a huge financial impact. I would say the most critical is payroll, because we have integration. I work as an integration consultant. So the most critical of our integrations are the payroll ones. It has to run on a particular date, has to run correctly and successfully. If it doesn't, then all hell breaks loose. It has to be fixed before the payroll. I mean, before the end of the day. It has to be done by the end of the day because it is very, 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 very critical. You have to pay your employees on time and accurately every day. There can be no mistakes in payroll. And compensation is a very important input to payroll. So yes, compensation is also quite important.